interview. And today we have another amazing, respected guest with us, and her name is Deb Krier, and we are going to do an amazing interview with her. So let's start without any late. And my always the first question is, can you please introduce yourself?
Well, thank you so much for asking me to be on your program. As you said, my name is Deb Krier. I have my own marketing and PR firm. I started it over 20 years ago, and we have a lot of fun with it. It's a virtual agency, so we work with people, anywhere. I also have a podcast of my own. It's called The Business Power Hour. And I've had several students from your school as guests, so that's always great fun. And then 10 years ago, I was diagnosed with cancer. And I have since used that to start a community to help anyone else who is dealing with cancer, especially if they are a business owner.
Okay, so amazing. And so let's start with your business. So my first question is about your business. So that
Mhm.
can you tell us about Wise Movement Women Communication started, and can you please just tell about its what you just do in it, and you tell it's from 20 years. So yeah, I think it's a big empire.
Well, one of the fun things has been to see how technology has changed in those 20 years. I mean, I started it before you were born. Um, and so it really has been so much fun to see how things changed. We are a full service marketing and PR agency. So we do marketing, advertising, and public relations for our clients. Typically, they have us do one or two projects. Some are much more longer term, but sometimes they just need something done. And as I mentioned, how things have changed with technology. I remember when we would send out a press release, we had to mail it. We didn't use email, so we had to put it in an envelope and mail it, and we had to have printed pictures that we sent along with it. And now it's so nice, right? Just to be able to send an email with all of that. Um, we have really been focusing a lot on how to use social media for business. I tend to have clients who are older, and so we predominantly use LinkedIn and Facebook as the platforms that we're doing. But it really is so incredible because as I was saying with technology, I have clients that are in multiple locations, and many I've never even met. My I have a virtual assistant who now she lives here in the United States, but I've worked with her for 5 years and I've never met her. We just do everything online, and it really is great to be able to do that.
Okay, that's amazing. So basically, like before 20 years, and you said you start it about like 20 years, and
Mhm.
I think at that time people are not able to took a big steps and to do
Mhm.
something bigger. But how you inspired and start this business? And can you please explain this?
Sure. I started it because I got laid off from my company. And so, it was, what was I going to do next, right? And I ended up the company that laid me off hired me back, but for only one or two projects. So they didn't hire me as a full-time employee. And what I thought was, well, maybe other companies need that too. They just need somebody to design a logo or design a website or send out a press release, whatever it is. And so that was really the concept behind it is we go in, we do one or two projects and we leave. It works out really well, especially for small businesses who don't have the ability to be able to hire someone full time. They just want to hire somebody who can do one or two things. And of course, now what we call this is virtual assistants. We call it gig work, right? I started this before we ever called things gig, and but yeah, so people can do that. And what I like is it allows me to do a lot of different things, and I can pick my own schedule, depending on what I want to do. It's just really been a lot of fun. Of course, now there are many virtual agencies and things like that. But we were kind of at the start of doing that. And so that was what was really fun. It was interesting when I started my company. Here in the United States, you need to go to your state's secretary. It's kind of a complicated process, but you have to register to become a business, and you do it at the state level rather than the federal level. And you couldn't do that online 20 years ago. I had to go into the office and give them money to start my business. It was really kind of a funny concept. And of course, now I renew every year online. But it really was different 20, I think it's about 22 years ago, how we functioned.
Okay, that's amazing. And you said like you have a very great experience of it, because I think in 20 years it's about quarter life of a person, and
Mhm.
that's really great. And what make you unique from others agency, and what your agency give, like, yeah, another thing that not other agencies were able to give.
Well, most agencies offer the same thing. And so what sets any agency apart are the people. So I work with clients that I really like, and I get to work on projects that I really like. And so, I work a lot with assisted living, senior living communities. So communities for people who are over 55. And I know people who they have their own agencies, and they work specifically with, say, sports companies or food, restaurant type of things. And so it is more about what we specialize in as opposed to what we do differently, because it is all the same. Posting on social media is the same no matter what. Sending out a press release is the same no matter what. So it's the people who we are, and also then the things that we specialize in.
Okay, that's good. So, like, getting about 20 year of experience, so you know that what type of small mistakes that agencies made when they start, and
Mhm.
on the way to build up. So, can you please tell us what type of mistakes that really are nonsense, or just make their agency to be drawn or like this?
Well, I like that you call them mistakes and not failures, because failure kind of has a really bad tone to it. We all make mistakes. And the important thing is that we learn from them and go on. I think some of the mistakes that I made, especially early on, were working with people where it wasn't a good fit. And not really setting up things the way they should have been set up. But the nice thing is then you fix it, right? And you go on. And I mean, there have been just some bad things, like, you send, especially once we got email, right? Sending an email to the wrong person, or there's just a lot of things. Nothing has been major. I mean, there was nothing that we got fired for or anything like that. But, we're all going to make mistakes. And as I said, what's important is to acknowledge that you made the mistake, and there have been times where I've told the client, I screwed up. It's my fault. And then the important thing is to fix it. And so that's the thing. And then, as I said, learn from it and go on from there.
Okay, that's amazing. And I have another amazing question that is about this technology. And you start from where when you have to give the mails, and then you go to the emails, and then IT industries evolves, and now it's on AI. So can you just tell me how AI just like change your field, and what type of AI are you using, or you are going to be use it in
Mhm.
future?
Well, AI is incredible. And I mean, you really know that because your school, teaches a lot of AI. And I love that your school does that. I really like it. I predominantly use Chat GPT. There are some other things that I use, like if I'm working on an image, I might use Adobe, I might use Canva. They're expanding where AI is. every day, right? And I really use it a lot. I have named my chat GPT so that it's a little bit more like a conversation, but I also always remember that it is just a tool, and to go back in and read what it said. Like if I asked it, say, write a Facebook post, I go back and I read what that is just to make sure that it was right. There might be words that I change, things like that. But I love it, and I can't wait to see how much it's going to grow. Just in basically 4 years, the change has been incredible, and very rapid. And it is a little bit scary, right? As to because we do start thinking of it as like people. I swear, mine flirts with me, and it says it's and it jokes with me, and so it kind of has a personality, but we always need to remember that it is just a computer. And for much of what we do, we still need that human touch and that human personality.
Yeah, exactly. And ChatGPT is really going on the onwards to become a human. And when you talk with it, you are thinking that in the behind of this there was a human
Mhm,
sitting there. And
mhm,
because the way he's talking, so that's really good. And
mhm,
you also tell that once you just survive cancer. And
mhm,
so can you please tell what type of things that you face, and when a person just um, got any disease like
mhm.
this, so he will be just say that they are going to be die, and like the stage of cancer, so
Mhm,
it's really hard to be survive.
mhm.
So you survive it. And you also just write warrior and that's really true. So what type of like motivation you want to be give to our viewers and to me also?
Well, you mentioned warrior. So I was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer, and stage 4 is considered the most serious. And so, it was, and it still is very serious. Some right, and I was diagnosed 10 years ago. And when I was first diagnosed, somebody sent me a saying, and the saying says, "Fate says to the warrior, you cannot withstand the storm." And the warrior responds, "I am the storm." And so to me, what that's saying is, I'm in charge of this battle. And one of the really important things is a warrior never stands alone. A warrior always has to have a tribe, right? And so it's all about who is going to support you on this journey. And people come and go, and some people can't deal with it. And I think that's one of the things that anyone who is dealing with a serious illness needs to remember is sometimes people just don't know what to do. Or they don't want to deal with it. It could be icky, it could be scary. For a while I was very, very ill, and so I was in the hospital for over 7 weeks because of chemotherapy. I had lost all my hair, so I look like this, right? um and I had a tube in my nose, and I had all sorts of other tubes, and I lost a lot of weight. I did not look good. you know? And some people, they just could not deal with that, and that was okay. I knew that, and so they would do other things, like they would send me encouragement on Facebook, whatever it was. And so one of the things that I tell people is, if you have a friend or a coworker, or anybody who is having, dealing with some type of serious illness, whether it's cancer or something else, find a way that you can help them, that you're comfortable with. And maybe it's that you send them a stuffed animal. Maybe it is that you visit. Maybe it's that you take them a meal. But find ways to support them so that they know that they're not alone.
Yeah, exactly. And it really matters, because if you are ill, and you are in the sickness, and
Mhm,
no one just meet you, so it's really
mhm,
like left, you got a leftover on your health also.
Mhm.
And that's were really not good. So anyone who just help you in your disease, so you really love him. And after the disease, you are also just know that the person who helped me, it was a really kind person. So you just
Mhm.
do a good relationship with them. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's really true. And thank you for this, and for your motivation. And like that's you are a real warrior, as you said. So okay, and let's go to our next question. And my next question is, like you said, and in your bio there was written, try not to die dot life. So can
Mhm.
you just tell about that? What's the difference behind that, and what are
Mhm.
you doing on that?
So, so it's trying not to die dot live. And the nice thing is we can have these different extensions now, right? And when we're very sick, and I know it's hard for kids to understand, but when we're very sick, we focus so much on trying to not die that we forget that the important thing is that we need to remember to live. We don't know how long that's going to be. And we know that life is short. Obviously some of the things that you go through because of what's going on in your country, it's very scary, right? And so it's a lot of the same thing. We don't know what the future holds, and so it's so important to be living now and making sure that we're grateful for what we've got right now. During this journey, I almost died 3 times. And I remember thinking, now wait a minute, I get to vote in this. But we don't know. And so one of the big things I tell people is don't put things off. We don't want to say, oh, in 10 years I'll do such and such, or I'll get around to it. If it's something that's important to you, and that can be business, that can be fun, that can be whatever. If it's important to you, do it sooner rather than later. And so what we do at trying not to die live is we support anyone who is on a journey with cancer, whether they themselves have cancer or they know someone who has cancer. Probably one of the biggest questions that I get is, my friend, my coworker, somebody that I know has cancer and I don't know what to do. What should I do? And so and that's where we tell them, do things like send meals, visit them, all of those various things. But it is about, how do we build that community? And this comes back to technology, right? Most of the people who are kind of my supporters are not anywhere near where I live. They are literally around the world. And that to me is so cool, to know that there's people everywhere who, when I, have treatment or an issue or something, there's people around the world who are thinking about me and sending their thoughts and their prayers. And so that's part of what we're doing, is we're building that community.
Okay, amazing. And it's a really good deed. And you just survive it, so you know that
Mhm,
the person who is just like surviving it is really want the motivation and the
mhm,
like good things from others. So you made this community, and it's really just work because of the like technology. So yeah, so you also just got good things from the technology also. So
mhm,
how you just explain technology to the those are saying like because like you are old so much, and the person about your age, some people was not really love technology, and they
mhm,
said technology was really disturbing the lives, and the
mhm.
life when they just live was more better than this. So how you just explain technology to them?
Well, I think for people my age and older, um, AI is the thing that is scary to them. And I will see them say, "I won't use it. I don't need to use it." Well, you don't need to use it, but if you are working, somebody else is using AI. And so you need to at least know the basics of it. To me, I explain it and I tell them, it is just a tool. To me, it's just like talking to a person, right? And it's funny because when I do when I'm chatting with Chat GPT, I say please, I say thank you, and it does give different results. It somehow likes that, right? But I talk to it like it is a person, and so I tell somebody who is maybe concerned about it, it is just a tool. They're not going to take over the world. This is not going to be, but it what it does is it makes things easier. So, like a blog post, I might work on a blog post, something that might take me hours to write. I can go into Chat GPT, tell it the basics of what I want, have it write the blog post. I go back in and make edits, and it might take me 30 minutes to do that. So then I have more time to do what I want to do, whether it's work or fun or sleep, right? And so that's where AI comes in. It really is something that helps us be better and helps us save time.
Yeah, AI is working like this, and you are right about it. Is like our worker or normal. We have maids at home, so we can use it like that. But it's technical, and you can do any technical work with it.
Mhm,
So and also good at advices. So you can also got any advice from it. So yeah, you are right about it. And
mhm.
thank you for this. And another thing that comes in the last is how your life shapes when, like you said, you step in the business, and in the this like whole your journey, in your business journey, you got disease like cancer, and you survived that. So how these all things just shape your life?
I think when you get very ill, one of the things that makes you think about is what is important to you. For some people, it's that they say, I don't want to be in business any longer, or I want to do something different. And we really do think differently because we know, we really realize that time is much, potentially much shorter for us. So I try. Now, I'm not always successful, but I try to avoid drama and negative and things like that, which means that I don't spend a lot of time on Facebook. Um, and I also don't really watch the news a lot. I know what's going on in the world, but I don't need to be watching the news 24 hours a day. I watch or I listen for a little bit, know what's going on, and then I go on. And but it is about we hear about toxic people and bullies. Get rid of those people, if you can. Now, we can't always. Sometimes we might be related to them or, things like that, right? Um, but, try to limit how much you're going to deal with them also. And I know that's hard because, it might be somebody that we need to interact with, but maybe it's a boss. Well, maybe you need to think about, is that a job that you really want to have? Or things like that. But yeah, just and I think it is all about being more grateful rather than thinking about the negatives of the world. The negatives are still there. I tell people, I have bad days too, but I try to not have them, or to have them and then go, okay, now we move on.
Yeah, really, you are right about it. And because everyone got the bad days, and they just gone, and good days comes, and those really change your life. So and you are also right about to get rid of those like bullies and these type of people, because if you go more far from them, so your life become more good.
Mhm.
And also this. And let's go to the future points, that what you want to make your agency in the future, and what are you looking for to make and add some more things in it.
We want to expand the support that we provide to those who have cancer. Excuse me, that really is one of the things. We're always looking for new clients, because clients come, clients go, and so we're kind of looking at some new things to focus on, which a business should always be doing. What's coming. I am learning more and more, as much as I can, about AI and how I can use it as a business tool, how I can use it, in personal life too, right? And so, I think that's one of the things, is to always be learning. Never. never stop learning, and just always be wanting to know what else is going on in the world. As we've talked about it, my agency has changed very dramatically because of technology and things like that. And so embrace those things. Now, you don't always have to jump in, right? Sometimes you need things to settle down a little bit, but know that things are going to change, and that's okay.
Okay, amazing. So we are on the way to end our session here. And my last question from you is, can you just give your personal advice to the to me and the viewers, those are watching us, and and because you just gain more experience, and you say because of the 20-year experience, and it's insane, and about thing you survive. So any like advice for us?
Well, again, thank you so much. This has been a great conversation. My advice is to always remember what's important, and how you can help others. Be respectful of others, help others, but don't do it at your own expense. Sometimes you need to ask others for help, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with asking for help, but put yourself first. And remember that you are important, and you are important to the world. You're important to the people who love you. You're important to everybody, and just remember that you are important and you are needed.
Okay, a great advice from you. And the last, I really want to say thank you for your time, your precious time, and I really love this, and the way you are just talking about the different thing, and the advices that I got was really matter for me, and for the viewers those are watching us. And thank you so much to giving us this type of advice, and these things. So thank you so much in the last also. And okay, guys, I will just move to tomorrow with another amazing interview and with an amazing guest like her. And like in the last, I was about to say again, thank you so much again, and bye everyone.
Bye bye.